Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Circle of the World podcast, where we discuss Joe Abercrombie's First Law series. I am one of your hosts, Lord Chamberlain Jeffrey, and here are my co-hosts.
Archlector George.
And Harrison, the Adeptus Historical.
Today we are covering Before They Are Hanged, the second book in the original trilogy. We'll be covering Among the Stones, the Fruits of Boldness, one for dinner, and one of them. So let's get started. Everyone, thank you for all your support and your kind well wishes during the holiday break. And we had a good
New Year to everybody.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Right?
Happy New Year.
Mm-hmm.
Ho, ho, ho.
Some people were wondering where the fuck we went. We are back. And we appreciate your support, even during, the whole, the holiday blues that some people might get?
Is that what it's called?
I don't know. People get depressed. Happens.
Sound like you're speaking from experience then.
Duh. But yeah, now we're back.
Really, we ran out of time, didn't we? We thought we might be able to record last week, but we just never got the chance. So we are back now.
Yeah, it was a time crunch. And we hope you appreciate the blooper reel episode. That was fun to put together, right, George? Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was so much fun. Especially when I deleted it all by accident.
Oh,
Yeah, that
oh.
was ridiculous. Oh, you put your poor PC through the riggers, huh?
Yeah, it almost went out the window.
Lovely. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get this ball rolling, and we'll go to our first chapter read-through. And the first chapter is Among the Stones. And we begin this chapter from Giselle's perspective. When we last left our group, they were hunkering down amongst a hilltop with some, you could say, like Stonehenge-style stones. Not really, but just a bunch of rocks. And now they're going over their plan to fight the soldiers that have been tracking them for some time. If we remember, it's just Giselle, Logan, and Pharaoh, with Quai watching over Baez's unconscious body, and Brother Longfoot, who happens to just he's nowhere to be found, as usual.
Yeah.
Our boy just knows when to dip out when the fighting's nearby.
It's his most remarkable talent.
Yeah, he's actually there though. Like he's just hiding under a rock or something. You know,
He's probably 50 feet away, just watching everything.
we get one POV of him. He's under the rock. You know, he's just like hiding is one of my many remarkable talents. Blah, 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 blah. He just goes on and on and on.
We find out that he just talks to himself like that as much as anybody else.
In the third person?
Yeah, exactly. In his own head. Like it's just constant in a monologue.
I love that. So going back to the chapter read through, like I said, Logan's kind of going over the plan, and Giselle confides to Logan that he's scared. He's so scared. And and Logan actually gives him a pretty decent pep talk, He says, you got family? And he's like, father, 2 brothers. Don't know how much they like me, really. And he's like, man, fuck them then. You got kids? Nope. Got a wife? Nah. He's like, come on. We know you're that.
Come on, bro.
Come on.
You're somebody.
Yeah. And then Giselle kind of confides, like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. And then he goes, what about you? And then Logan says, like, you know what? You're my family now. You, Pharaoh, Quai, the whole gang. And then, being scared is normal, and it's, everything's okay. And then, right before that, doesn't he say something like, Giselle's like, she doesn't look scared to Pharaoh?
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to follow her example.
Yeah, she crazy. She crazy. And then they both wish each other luck. And then
it's like a genuinely touching moment, isn't it?
It is.
You see Logan being a really good leader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can see how he kept the Northern Dozen together with this kind of mindset. Well, he might be a little bit more mean, but whatever.
He's like, listen, it's the right to be scared, but don't be, otherwise you're a pussy. And then with Giselle, he's like, hey man, it's all right. And then he's like, are you sure? And he's like, maybe not, but it'll be all right.
Yeah. George, you have anything else to say about the interaction?
No, that's it. I think it's just nice to see Logan like in his element. where he can actually, his actions actually mean something, and he's not just like bumbling around, fucking around, you know.
Well, he also gets to have this opportunity where, he's getting to say that to Giselle, and he gets the gratification of Giselle taking him genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell whenever somebody's like, responding to you, being, not just brushing you off. And I'm sure that's not something that Logan's had for a while, anyways.
Right. Yeah. Imagine maybe back in the north, if Logan's like, "Hey, take it easy, man." They're probably like, "That bloody 9 bastard's lying to me.
Yeah,
I don't trust him."
which is fair.
It is fair. It is fair. Then our point of view switches over to Pharaoh, and she's ready with her bow down the hillside. She's ready to do some damage. She, she takes out a couple guys that she sees at least that the soldiers are approaching the hill in a semicircle, and they're slowly creeping up. They're being obviously very wary. Considering the last time they had encountered this group, things exploded. So So they're like, we're gonna take our time with this. And so with that, Pharaoh, just starts popping things off, popping off the arrows, bing, bing, boom. Right? She takes out what, 2?
Yeah, we see her legendary aim. She manages to get these guys like as the sun's going down from a distance, and they don't even know where she is, and they're like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Yeah,
For real.
it's badass.
Yeah. Although for someone with legendary aim, I feel like she's kind of like wasting arrows here already. Just saying.
Oh yeah, are you an expert marksman, Jeffrey?
I do archery, so I know more than.
Would you be able to make the same shots?
Absolutely not. But I am obviously qualified to comment on this. No. Go ahead.
This part here too is cool. It's like kind of a whole action sequence, but Pharaoh is like, oh, it's like in her element. It's like just like it was back in the Badlands. It's like she's ready to rock and roll. She's almost giddy for it. That's what Giselle was noticing. And one thing we miss is that Logan told Giselle just to kind of stay back, and if anybody gets past them, then he's be ready.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, though, Logan and Pharaoh try to take care of everybody by themselves.
Which is wild, if you think about it.
13 of them, right? I think.
Something like that. It's crazy. And, they can't trust Kwai to help out. And, Longfoot is about as useful as a broken dick. So, it just ain't happening. Then, like you said, there's a whole action sequence with this chapter because it switches over to Logan, who's like hiding behind a stone. He's waiting for some guy to like walk past. And then Logan just takes his ass out. And then he starts running, screaming, "Still alive!" as a spear, is like flying right by him. He's like, "Oh fuck!" So they're doing good work already in the beginning. Seems things are happening here. All right, right. Then it switches back to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh is again, she's like ducking behind rocks, shooting off some more arrows. She takes out like one more guy, I believe, with just arrows or 2.
Yeah.
I think it's one more, and then she goes for a sword.
Right. And then she's like, "Okay, time to get close." Then switches back to Logan. And now he's looking right at a dude. He's, it's close quarters combat. It's going crazy, right?
Yeah. I love how he kills this guy and he just goes, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah, he asked him.
He's like, "What's your mate?"
And he's dead. It's like, why would you ask him that? That's so strange.
Oh, Logan always being
what?
Logan always being considerate of conversational etiquette.
Yeah.
And now we switch back to Pharaoh, who isn't just screaming, "Come on, you fucking cunt!" It's like, "Oh, Pharaoh, take it easy." Oh Lord. And she starts stabbing at this. She's fighting this other guy who has a spear, big giant dude. She can't even count the strides, like how far away he is as he's charging her. Then she takes him out easy by undercutting him the legs. Then switches over to Logan again. And it's just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And now this guy, Logan, is fighting some giant. And you guys want to talk about this little sequence? Anybody?
The big guy?
Yeah, the giant guy.
Phineas.
No. The
it's
giant
not
guy
Phineas
before
yet, is it?
Phineas. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
right. Go ahead, Harrison.
He was a big bastard. This one, I don't know why, but the way Pacey delivers that line always makes me like, oh, he was a big motherfucker. I don't know what it is.
Mhm.
Well, it's kind of just like, honestly, it's kind of like the typical, big guy bat fight where he's just like, obviously he's stronger and everything, but the thing that Logan does, to beat him, which he does in multiple times, and it honestly is very smart, and the reason why he has one of his lines being "you can never have too many knives" is because he kills this guy with a knife, which
Right, because they're engaged in some kind of like bear hug, right?
right, yeah, and
Mhm.
Logan's a strong dude. He's a big dude, but apparently this guy's even bigger.
Yeah.
And I just like that Logan, even though for him being a big guy, that this kind of shows his cleverness as well.
Mhm.
He's like taking guys out with his sword and stuff, but then when it comes down to it, whenever he's outmatched physically, then he gets creative as well. He like is very adaptable for the situations. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's scared as shit, but he also is prepared.
Yeah, that's very true. He doesn't just rely on brute strength. So yeah, our boy's smart. You can never have too many knives. And then we switch over to Pharaoh, and she gets shot. She gets shot in the shoulder by an arrow. Doesn't feel anything because obviously Pharaoh doesn't feel pain, but her arm is numb. So she's just got one working arm with the sword, and she takes out this other fucking dude, I guess, because she started crawling through the long grass, and takes him out with the legs again, always as before. And she after she takes him out, she's like creeping up through the hilltop to find more people to kill because that's what.
She doesn't really take him out. Like he happens to get stabbed by the arrow that's coming through her shoulder.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? That's rough.
Which is great. Yeah, but that is
very true. Stabbed him right through the eye. I mean, that's not funny, but
Pharaoh just falls on him and he dies. It's funny.
Mhm.
Then we have Phineas.
Oh yeah,
the same guy who ambushed them previously, who
the
is
leader.
now, yeah, the leader of this little band, and he's now in front of Logan, and he's all like, "What happened to your sorcerer?" He's all like jumping around and stuff, which is an interesting little thing he's got here. He's got like a buckler and a sword, and he is moving quick, and it kind of gives you like a gladiator vibe. We never see this ever again, but it makes me wonder if there's just something.
He's very much seems like a showman.
Yeah, I wonder if this is some sort of sport or some kind of gladiator type thing that he learned. He's obviously got style. He knows what he's doing. Like something in the old Empire. Ever since I first read it, I wondered, like, how like the Union has their short steel, their short steel and their long steel, and they have a style. I wonder if they have a similar kind of thing with a buckler and a sword, but in the old Empire.
Well, you're saying buckler. What do you mean by buckler?
Who's got like a small shield, right?
He's got a big square shield. I feel like with the
I
old
thought,
Empire.
I thought he had a small one.
No. I feel more like the old Empire. They're based off the Roman/ancient Greek style of warfare. What do you got, the Praetorians and all that jazz? So
yeah,
he's probably
it says big square shield and a thick sword. That just sounds exactly Roman, doesn't it?
yeah. So
Yeah.
he's probably doing the whole shield stab. So.
But I do like how he says one to me. That's where I think Harrison gets it right here. It does sort of seem like he's treating it like a game.
Yeah, he's trying to be Captain Jack Sparrow up in this bitch.
Exactly.
Yeah. He does have the tone that he is like, oh, one to me. Like he's like he is making fun of the Union rather than like, oh, I'm actually,
That's true. That could be.
Possibly.
That could be that. I don't know why you're arguing with yourself now, though.
Oh no, I didn't mean like he has the same style as I don't mean like I meant like he's.
I know.
got,
I was joking.
Oh, I meant like he's got his own thing with the old Empire. It's similar to the Union having their own style.
Mm-hmm. And what I like here as well is here we see an instance where rarely Logan's like, where the fuck is the bloody nine when you need him? Because he's exhausted. Our boy's tired. He's got a bad leg. His arm's jacked up, and his head is just all fucked up because he got knocked out in the mouth. So he has to like just do this. Sober Logan. And what else happens? They just keep fighting, and then eventually there's a point where Logan can. thrusts him
Completely,
away
like-
to the point and just cuts his fucking ankle off, his foot off.
Yeah, he feigns weakness, so he is injured and stuff, so he just exaggerates it and acts really vulnerable. And Phineas is all like, "Oh, that's all you got, huh?" And then he goes in, and then he just erupts and then chops off his foot. And Phineas is like, "Oh, my foot!"
my foot. And then he's like, wait. And Logan just fucking murdered.
Yeah,
And that's it. That's the end of Phineas.
and I like how
He does say like,
daunting.
Logan goes, "Oh, that's it, huh?"
Who says that's it, huh?
Well, like so, Phineas is like That's it, huh? Whenever Logan starts acting tired, and then whenever Logan chops his foot off, and he's like asking for sympathy or whatever, Logan goes, "That it?"
Well, that was
no, he goes.
that
He
was
says when he says my foot, he says put it out of your mind.
yeah. That it part was when he cut him in the shoulder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that part was I was gonna say like that's like very not eerie, but like daunting. Like he's like my foot, and then Logan's just walking, he kicks the foot out. He's like, put it out of your mind. It's like, oh, no. It's like chill out, Logan, please. And then Phineas, he has some bravery, right? He tries to get on his one last good leg to give a good lunge, and
He's just fucking hopping away.
and it does not work. So then he realizes he has to go back to the other, so he starts climbing back up towards the summit of the hill. And perspective changes again, and this time it is Pharaoh still, right?
Yeah. She's already in close quarters. She can't use her sword, so she whips out her knife and goes to try to fight this guy. And it's a bigger guy, but Pharaoh's, she's a woman, so there's a lot of guys who are bigger than her anyway. So this other guy, he grabs her, starts, choking her out, starts squeezing, and it looks like he's actually getting the best of her here. And then a big pale 3-fingered hand, like with blood all over it, like goes around the guy's entire face and like rips it back, which is kind of terrifying. Like you were talking about how kind of creepy. He's like kicks the foot out of his way and he's like, put it out of your mind. And then this guy is just sitting here, and Logan doesn't come behind him and like choke him out real quick. He puts his whole hand over his face and just whips him around and kills him.
Basically, nearly rips his fucking head off.
Yeah, yeah, which is badass and terrifying.
For real.
And they're just like, holy shit! Like they're both like tired. Logan and Farrah both are, and they're like, I wonder how many are left. And they're like, oh, I think a couple. And then they glance up towards the top of the hill, and then they start heading up to the top.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now we cut to Giselle.
Giselle, the last point of view in this chapter, and man, it's fun, isn't it? Giselle's guarding Baez and Kwai and the wagon, and his nerves they're jangled, they're up, and then two guys come up on the hill, and he's like, oh fuck, and
Yeah, he's immediately like, oh shit, look weak, and it's like, oh, that's tea. That was easy,
right.
wasn't it?
Right, yeah, because he starts thinking back to what Logan told him like some chapters ago, like in terms when Logan gave him advice on how to fight, to always try to look weak. He said like, well, that wasn't easy because I'm about to piss myself. Don't take him lightly, which he did not do. And when you decide to act, you don't fuck about, you just go for it. And so they he moved, they move, and next thing you know, he killed him in like 2 strokes.
Yeah.
Our boy Giselle.
And he's like looks up at Quiet and he's like, I did it.
He's like, I did it, yeah.
And then even Logan's like, I mean, even Quiet is like, you did. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, he nodded slowly. He was like, mm-hmm. And then Quiet's like, uh-oh, behind you. And then Giselle turns, and then we just don't know. We just know he got knocked the fuck out, if not got straight murdered. So, and that was the end of that chapter. Quite the cliffhanger, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah, and it's so well. This is one of the ones. It's one of the longest chapters we've had in a while, but it's all action.
Right.
Like you don't get that with a lot of Joe Abercrombie stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
I love
It's
the
also-
action in this chapter.
It's really great whenever there is just pure action because he always does such a good job at it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he writes some of the best action sequences for sure. So what do you guys give that chapter?
Jeffrey.
Why the silence?
Jeffrey. What is it?
I asked you. I asked you.
No. I thought of it first.
What?
What do you rate the chapter?
Okay. You're fucking up the flow, man. You're fucking up the flow.
I'd rate the
Welcome
chapter.
back, everybody.
I'd rate the chapter probably a 6 out of 9. I like the chapter. I think it's like you said, it's a good action chapter. It's got this nice heartfelt moment with Giselle, and it's kind of right after Logan does the same thing with Pharaoh and make sure everybody's kind of closer by this point, and they trust each other a bit more, or at least some of them do.
Mm-hmm.
But it is an action chapter, and it leaves on a cliffhanger. But it's a good chapter. It's pretty average for me overall, though.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one a 5 as well because it is good. I love action. I love the way he writes it, but it is just all action. I like some of the little details that he's got in, like Pharaoh's extreme, like a visual acuity. Like you can see all of these things in this guy's face as he's trying to strangle her, and it's like, what the fuck? This is so strange. Why would you
How
be
Logan
focused on
gets
that?
brutal and brutal more and more.
Yeah, like Logan really lets himself go and gets creepy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 5, I reckon.
Wow. I guess I'm the bloodthirsty fucker. I'd give this a 7 out of 9.
You love the action chapters, Jeff.
Oh, I mean, I do, and I enjoy in the beginning the heartfelt interaction between Logan and Giselle. I even like there's a nice little moment between Kwai and Giselle at the end, and then obviously in between we have Logan and Pharaoh fighting for their lives and having each other's back, and it's a slow progression up towards the hill as they're ceding ground against an enemy that's like they outnumber them by what? What is it?
Like, it was like 5-1 or something like
5
that.
to 1, right?
Yeah,
It's like
it's about 5 to 1.
if it's 13, 14, and if we're counting Giselle, yeah, well, I don't know. So it's wild. Excuse me. So yeah,
Don't quote us.
Don't quote us. We're not
6 to 1 technically. 6 to 1.
6 to 1. Okay.
Okay.
So
Quote me.
yeah, quote Harrison. He's the Adeptus Historical. So yeah, 7 out of 9 fingers for me. Alrighty, so let's move on to our next segment, which is Best Meme of the Week. George, take it away.
Surprise, surprise, guys. It's Tam Albor.
Praise Tam Albor.
Praise Tam Albor. We love your memes. And it's the Pablo Escobar meme. Spoilers, by the way, for everybody. And it's when she makes of her Quimmer stone.
She makes of her Quimmer stone.
Yeah. Standing around.
Love it. It's awesome.
So yeah, go on Reddit and have a look at that. Thank you, Tam Albor.
Thanks. All right, so let's move on to our second chapter read through. And this one is The Fruits of Boldness. Oh, this is the one we've been waiting for, folks.
Yeah, this whole section is, right? It's like the accumulation of the entire first part, and one might even say the entire everything before this point has accumulated to like a couple of these chapters in here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This chapter is solely from the point of view of our boy West, and the time has come for Crown Prince Ladislaw to prove his worth, as they are about to engage in battle with Bethod.
Oh dear.
Oh God. Oh boy. The army, they take their time in getting ready because they see a thin line of Northmen on the hill. Was the King's Own. Harrison, you want to take it away in terms of like the setup here?
Yeah, so there are 4 battalions of the King's Own, which is about 500 men per battalion. And they are right in the middle of the valley, and they're unfortunately down in the valley, not up on the little rise where they are. And they're facing off against a larger hill, where there are, probably a couple dozen Northmen. It's not enough to like take on the army, but nothing that is to squawk at. It's a good number of men, of just some savage-looking dudes. More than likely, the Easterners that Dogman had spotted the banners of whenever they were scouting them out. So they're more savage folk. They're not even the Bethod's Northmen, and they're just sitting up there looking down at them. Everybody's setting up. On the flanks, they have the levies, and Ladislaw's force is about, as Burr said, about 10,000 men. Although they've already lost some guys because of where they're camped and stuff, but still about 10,000 men. So there's about 2,000 King's Own in the middle, and then about 4,000 levies on each side. And they're in a very standard line formation. The King's Own has some cavalry and some crossbowmen, flatbowmen, who are already set up. But that's the array. We can't see Bethod set up, but they know he's on the other side of the hill somewhere, close by. But they don't know exactly where he's at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's exactly what Ladislaw wants to see, isn't it?
Yeah, just like not even 100 Easterners sitting up there dicking around.
Mm-hmm.
I love how after West's initial sort of telling us what's going on, and then the first thing is just Smund going, "They mock us." They're immediately just being stupid.
We should give them a taste of Union lances.
Yeah. But West obviously tries to be the voice of reason, they have the high ground, Anakin, and so you don't want to be charging uphill on wet mud. It's just a bad idea. And obviously he's not going to win this argument, is he?
Well, he might have had it. He might have convinced Ladislaw.
More than scouts.
Might have had it. But some douchebag from the north decided to just let loose one arrow for no reason.
Yeah. I love that.
And Ladislaw was just like, "That's it.
That's the
True
line."
Mm-hmm.
I love it when the King's Own are charging away here. Smund's like, "That's it. That's the damn recipe." That's got to be the most uptight thing anyone has ever said in these books. That's the recipe.
I just love the thought of one of these guys, one of these Eastern bastards up at the top, one of the Krena bastards, looking back at the army, and Bethod's shrugs, and the guy pulls out an arrow and just fucking lobs it up. Just to see what would happen. And then they all get the whole command tent gets all riled up.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is the weight of command.
I like how the King's Own, they disappear over the hill,
and
then it just goes silent, and they're all just stood around going.
They're like
taking the time, aren't they? It's been quite a long time.
It's hilarious. They're like, don't worry, it'll be okay. And then the mist that's been going around the north for a little bit is starting to get stronger. It's getting hard for them to see. And then somebody yells out that's them, and they're looking and they see the horsemen coming back, the King's Own, right? Their cavalry, and they realize. Oh no! Wait, sorry.
Yes, no, you're right. They do think they're coming back, and then they realize that it's just a line of calls coming up over the rise, and they're
right,
like,
oh.
And then out of the line of calls come a whole line of flatbowmen. They notice that they have flatbows, and they're up on the higher hill, and they pull up their flatbows and just start firing down into the ranks, volley after volley. And if the first volley goes into the King's Own, which doesn't do too much because the King's Own, they've got plate armor and stuff, and they're really well equipped. And then they change targets to the levies, and the levies start just dying in droves for the hundreds of the flatbow bolts that are coming down. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because it takes them 3 volleys before anybody does anything. They're like, oh wait, Wes is we got to pull back.
Yeah.
Clearly hasn't played enough time playing Total War.
No, he has not. And now Ladislaw's like, well, I mean, what do you think? What do you think we should do? Because they're getting peppered up, and Wes is like, we either got to advance and close the distance, or we got to retreat to higher ground. And Ladislaw's like, well. And the West is like, oh, I thought the burden of command was yours and yours alone, you motherfucker. He's like, but he just like, fuck it. He's like, sound the retreat, and they start retreating. And but the mist is coming in harder. The formations are starting to fray, and the Carls are beginning to move. And they're like, and not only they're beginning to move, they're beginning to do that whole, wild man yell, just shaking their weapons.
Well, it's perfect. I mean, I'll give you guys full details whenever I release the Battle of the Cumner video. But the fact it's kind of a genius move because there's this mist. These are like poor ass forces. Only the King's Own are like actually organized and retreating. The levies are like all of them or some of them are even running already. Just they're already breaking, and then on top of that, now you have thousands of like savages in their minds coming over the hill, and they just start coming down in this, like you said, like a inhuman scream. I don't know about you guys, but I'd be fucking terrified.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see anything. All you hear is
Yeah. Oh god.
And so now they realize the Carls are charging, so now they have to form battle lines. The bugler is all the bugler, the guy with the bugle, the guy with the bugle, the bugle man is just all like, what do I do? And then out of nowhere, it's Pike. He's like screaming out, lines, form lines, and then it snaps, it gets the guy into shape, and he starts, and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And then they start to form battle lines. They kind of get into some kind of cohesive shape. But they can't see. The mist is getting even much more stronger. So West and the command tent can't see what's going on. And there's no sound that actually signifies the point of contact, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so they're just like, kind of like, what the fuck's going on? Some guy comes up through the mist and he's like, where the hell's the motherfucking headquarters? And then, he says, what does he ask for? He asked for
he salutes West and he's like, I am Ladislaw.
He salutes West because he's like, Your Majesty, the 4th Regiment's is under heavy assault and asks for reinforcements. And then he goes, I am Ladislaw, and then he has to repeat himself.
And then he goes, who is Major Bosden? He's like, you mother Bosden. That's and then
ridiculous.
It is. And then he's trying to tell him, he tries to find figure out what to do, and then Ladislaw is just like, just hold and then drive them back and fight to the last man. And he goes, tell Major Clodson that help is on the way.
Yeah, he gets his fucking name wrong. It's so stupid, isn't it? I like how he's just like, yes, fight to the last man. That'll do.
It's like that sounds like a good thing to say.
Mm-hmm. And then some of the levies are starting to retreat. They're breaking. It's about to be a rout. It seems like, at least on the levy side. They can't see anything now at this point because the mist is getting so much stronger. And then somebody pointed out that they could hear like horses. And then, Smund is like, oh shit, look, it's the cavalry. They've returned. And he starts walking towards them, right? He's like, you there, prepare your men for another. And then, but Wes is like, wait a minute, something ain't right here. Turns out it's the Northmen dressed in the Union uniforms, like their armor and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it looks like the cavalry got all fucked up. And now it's just chaos. Who wants to talk about the chaos?
Oh, it's brilliant. I just love how shit, nobody knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And Wes just running around looking for the prince. He's like, protect the prince. And then he's like, where the fuck is the prince? Like, what the hell's going on?
Mm-hmm. And then he gets like knocked down. He's still looking for the prince. He can't figure out what's going on. Somebody, does somebody save him or?
The prince?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No. Somebody saves West. It's Cathal.
Yeah, so Cathal bashes him over the head with a hammer as he's basically being crushed into the mud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some dude had knocked West down and was just, like you said, just stepping on him and just making like, it's just, and what do you say? He's like, no last words, no pithy phrases, No expressions of anger, remorse, or anything. Just that's it. And then yeah, the Northman gets his head caved in by Cathal, and they're looking around. He's still trying to find the prince, and Cathal's like, "Man, fuck this! I'm trying to get out of here."
He's like, I gotta save the prince. I gotta do it.
Yeah, Pike finds them, and then they're trying to run away again. Cathal's like, "Fuck him! Let's get out of here." And then we find out that it's Ladislaw because he hears a voice saying, "No, I beg of you, no!" Right?
Yeah, there will be a ransom.
Mhm.
Colonel West, is that you? Are you alive?
And he's like, "We have to go right meow. Get the fuck up. Let's go."
And he's like, wait, go.
No.
Does that mean we've won? It's so fucking ridiculous, man.
I lost my sword somewhere.
I bet you did, Prince.
Which,
I bet you.
to be fair, I'll give Ladislaw this. Wes is basically in the same state of mind. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, oh. Because remember, when he gets knocked over, what he thinks of is Luthar. And he's like, oh, that boy's getting too good for me. Like, he's not
true.
in the right state of mind at all, either. So, to be fair to Ladislaw, he's never even seen combat. The fact that he is even like, go?
Mhm.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah, it is.
He's still a cunt, though.
Still a
Oh,
cunt.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't mean sympathetic wise. I meant like understanding. Most of us would probably be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, for sure. And then the four of them start running down the hills. They're like, "Fuck this, we're out." And they realize that at first they try to run towards the baggage train, then they realize, "Oh no, that's where they're gonna go for first. Fuck that." They go a different direction. And then I like this part where it's like he could see the others ahead of him, Prince Ladislaw well in front. Like he's out. He's not looking back for anybody. And it's Pike and Cathal, and then Cathal turns around and is like, "Uh-oh." And then Wes is like, "What now?" And he looks, and a rider is following them. He's like, "Shit!" And then he tells them to make for the trees. He's going to try to distract the rider, and he kind of does, right? And it's about to happen. The horseman he's gaining on West, and West is just trying to prepare himself, and then this guy just catches an arrow in the neck.
Yeah,
right?
He's fucked over, falls straight out of his saddle.
And then apparently, who saved him? None other
Arrow
but
Malchit.
he's like, "What the fuck?"
It's the dog man.
It's the dog man. Yeah, and he's like, "You're lucky, you came to me, but shit." He's like, "I've been known to miss." He's like, "Look, we gotta get the fuck out of here." And he's like, "Man, 3 trees will shit when he sees what I caught me." And then he goes, and he looks around, he starts naming. He's like, half dead Colonel West, girl with the bloody hammer, man with a face like the back end of a cook pot, and this one here, lest I'm deceived, is the boy who had charged this whole fucking disaster. And then he goes, 3 trees is going to shit.
Oh my god.
Oh, that was a great chapter. I thoroughly enjoyed that chapter.
It's one of my favorites. The first time I read this chapter, I was just like, "What the fuck? This is so good."
Mm-hmm.
Just the good guys in quotes getting absolutely fucked on the first try.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it feels like a because it's like the first time we actually get to see like a battle in this series, and to see the way it goes, and just like you said, to see our hero get like absolutely crushed, and the entire army get absolutely demolished. Because they even point out too that West knows that they've been routed, and whenever they're running away, he's like, "Oh, there's our like our column, our supply column," and they're guaranteed to get raided and stuff, and it's just a very nice unexpected instance of happening. You just assume that they're going to get saved, or Marshal Burr is going to come around the corner and with the cavalry and save them, but no, they just get screwed entirely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could. It is exactly like that, isn't it? Being set up for a Deus Ex Machina where something happens. The army is saved. So of course, like the main characters from the army do survive, but at great cost. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
Harrison, I love that bit where he's when he finds the baggage train, he's like, "Oh, carts, that's good. That means it's the baggage train." And then he thinks for a second. He's like, "Wait, no, carts, that's bad."
Yeah, some slapstick comedy right there.
Yeah.
Oh
It
shit.
is interesting on a character note as well for West, right? This is like kind of a climax for his. It's not the climax of his character, but it's like a very big point in his journey because he's like, "Oh, I'm stuck with Ladislaw. I can't command." He's trying to take over. He's trying to do good, and he fails.
Yeah.
He doesn't save the day, and and honestly, kind of to his fault. What does he think about doing? He thinks about saving the prince, but it's because that's all he has. Like, he doesn't really feel like he has a family anymore because he's betrayed, his one family that he could consider family. He's away from all his friends. Um, he doesn't have. He's dedicated his whole life to the Union, so he just falls back on that instinctual, like, my duty, the prince. That's why he saves him because he's panicking and he's grasping onto something that'll keep him held down because he already is feeling overwhelmed with shame, even though it's not particularly his fault. And I just think that that's a really the way he plays it out. A lot of characters in a book or a movie, they go save the prince, and it's hard to understand why he would do so. But in my mind, it makes perfect sense why he'd go save the prince. And I've never seen anybody ever question it either. But it is really cool to think about that most of the time we would question it. Like, everybody knows he's a cunt. You know what I mean? Like, it's very clear.
I mean, even West himself thinks he's a cunt.
Exactly.
But he's like, this is the one job that he's been given, and he's been trusted to do it. And being a commoner, and he's actually gotten to this rank in the army, which probably nobody else ever has.
Right. And he's
like, right now, I've got to do the last thing I can possibly do to make sure this works out. Because if he manages to get Ladislaw back to the Union alive, then he's a hero.
Yeah.
Right.
Or at least he'll succeed at something.
Yeah, exactly.
To some degree, compared to losing 10,000 men. But hey, whatever. What's that compared to a crown prince?
Exactly.
Philosophy.
Philosophy. So, what would you rate this chapter?
I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 9.
Ooh, nice.
It's a battle chapter. It's really well done. It's not even the best battle chapter, but it's really good for West's character. It honestly kind of gave me the chills whenever, like, the way they show the dread. He conveys the dread of things turning bad so well, because West is panicking and you can tell that it's falling apart. And there's a certain ebb and flow because you think, oh, maybe they form battle lines. Maybe they'll do all right, and it just gets worse and worse. And then they come around with their cavalry. You know that none of the cavalry survived, and knowing how they talked about Bethod, he's so mysterious at this point, and we've only seen him once. That whenever the calls are up there screaming and stuff and coming down on him, it just conveys such a perfect image of what this battle would really be like in that moment. And I think it's really well done. But it's also not my favorite battle, so it's also again 8 out of 9.
Right.
I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give it the full score, a 9 out of 9. I'm gonna give it for all the reasons that Harrison said and some more, but also because Lord Spund gets his fucking head chopped off, which is extremely satisfying. I don't know about you guys, but even in the midst of this quite, it's quite depressing, like what's happening here to West and the army. But I still had a little giggle when Spund gets his head chopped.
What does he say? He comes up to the horseman and he's like, "You there? Reform the cavalry. Prepare for another charge."
And then now he's headless.
Oh yeah, exactly. No, he's not headless. I think he just head split in half, maybe. It's not any better, but
the sword
no, you're right. Nope, yep, chopped into the skull. You're right.
But one thing I do find quite interesting in this is that we've seen that the Northmen have flatbows before, and I'm sure it has been brought up in one of the, but to somebody, maybe it was when Logan was talking to West,
No, hang on.
Something like that,
No,
talking
no.
about buying flat bows and armor and weapons.
Yeah,
He said that. Like that
so
Bethod reads the latest books. He buys things from other countries. Yeah.
yeah, but I think that the implication here is that they took that equipment that they have, both of horse, armor, and flatbows from the England army, like on that scale at least.
That's
Well,
possible, yeah, because they did wipe out that the
Mhm.
England army.
Because even Burr says that they took their, they slaughtered that army and then took all their equipment,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
and
Yeah, it makes sense, and also, if I'm not mistaken, Bethod was purchasing, weapons of war from like Styria and Gurkel.
yeah,
There
he
was something about.
purchased weapons that way he could train his men to
Mhm.
use them.
Yeah, and probably got a lot of them, like you said, from the army of England. When Meade thought it was a good idea to, go out there.
Yeah, get his ass out.
Mm-hmm. It's happening a lot lately. I'm giving this chapter an 8 and a knuckle. Love this chapter. So I figured I split the difference between you two.
Oh,
Yeah. I just bridged the gap. All right, so let's move on to our character spot. And man, don't we have good timing? Don't.
say one thing for the Circle of the World podcast. Say we have good timing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because who's our character spot?
Lord Smund.
Oh, tell me about him, Adeptus.
He was a hero. He died protecting the crown prince. If he wasn't in the way of that sword, Ladislaw would have been in the way. It's true that he died not long after, but he tried.
Whoa.
Him and his oversized hat will be remembered fondly.
Basically
I'll
what
have a
that
grand statue on the King's Way.
But at the same time, it was all of his fault too.
Yes, it absolutely was his fault.
Yeah. He egged Ladislaw on to even decide to ride out to meet Bethod. And then he's like, we should charge. Yeah, definitely charge, guys. We should do it.
Drive them back.
Do it, pussy.
Come on, Ladislaw, you won't do it, you little bitch.
Smund is such a he's like that college bro who is like so much fun at a party. But anybody who listens to him is an idiot because all he does is party.
I think but he's like a nepo baby, a nepotism baby, whatever they call nowadays.
I mean, all of them are.
That goes
All
to
of them.
college parties. Yeah, for sure.
I just love that the entire staff, he's like the ringleader of
Mhm.
Ladislaw's staff, who are all like they're all nobility who went to war for glory. And to see them all get slaughtered, you don't even feel bad. You feel bad for like the levies and the King's Own because they're like people. But like these guys, nah. Smund was like the representation of like the utmost class who are completely disengaged from the world, and to see them get absolutely dicked on for their foolishness and them getting 10,000 men killed, totally down for it.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not down for the 10,000 men dying, but yeah.
But for them dying, for the 10,000 men dying.
Gotcha. Makes sense. So this is what happens. Is there anything else you want to say, George, about Lord Smund?
I think it's all been said. I'm glad he's dead.
Nothing about his vim and vigor? Okay, never mind. Awesome. All right. Well, rest in peace, Lord Smund. And we will move on to our third chapter read through. And this one's One for Dinner. Our next chapter read through is with our man Superior Glockta. And he starts off the chapter with one of his fantastic letters to Archlector Salt. George, I know you love these. Talk about it.
So he's letting Salt know that he's managed to uproot the entire conspiracy. Everyone's in prison. He's already killed Worms, and his head is decorating the battlements next to Islik's.
Mm-hmm.
He's just singing his own praises. He's like, the walls are still holding. This is still happening. I'm doing really, really, really well, despite the fact I didn't get any money or men from it.
I got no money. I'm doing this all on credit. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
And then we move
But
after
it
that.
ends the message with, but things are going badly.
Oh, hold on. Is there a delay?
I'll edit that out. All
Okay.
right.
Go ahead.
Continue, Jeff.
Go ahead. Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
That's right, Jeff.
Then after that, we
I'm
move.
finished.
Okay, there's a goddamn delay. Okay.
Okay. All right. It should be a bit better now. Say something.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh God. No, that's a delay. That's like a 10-second delay. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
What now?
All right. How about now?
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 Okay. Anything?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
It's like a 3-second delay.
It's getting down. It's getting down. We almost got it. We almost got it.
You're saying that like we can affect it by time.
Yeah. I think it's better now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You got my
Yeah.
joke immediately, so.
Right. George, say
Yeah, there
hi.
we go. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, that's good. It's back to normal.
Okay. All right. Then after that, we move on to the interrogation scene with Carla Dan Eider, right? And
Mhm.
he's nice to her. He still let her have like a potato sack, for her clothes, but no jewelry, no makeup, no
Potato
nothing.
sack.
This bitch looking like Friar Tuck up in here.
That's good, Jeff.
And so oh shit. And then
But Galactus still like, but she kind of cute though.
yeah, she's still beauty. She's still beautiful. Yeah, she's whatever.
Kind of divorced though.
Yeah, ooh, a little something. And so Glockta's like, all right, listen, we got all the info we need from Verms. He's already dead. And then he's like, I just need you to tell me these three things. I need your signature, I need your reasons, and I need you to tell me who the Gurkish agent is. And then she's like, you wouldn't dare torture me. You have a conscience.
Yeah.
You're not Davos.
Oh my god.
Right. And then Glockta's just like, you motherfuckers literally just sent me pictures of Friar Tuck. Alms for the poor. And then after he convinces her that like he doesn't have a conscience, that he would just do terrible, terrible, terrible things, and that he's only going to give her one shot because he's been very lenient with her compared to what he's done to other people, she kind of just like collapses right there, and internally, and she gives an impassioned speech for her reasons, right, for betraying the union, because it's all about greed, all on the part of the merchants, and they're even fucking bankrupt and shit. And so she was trying to time it out where they can give over Dagoska before the union, anybody from the union came over. But Davos found out, and Davos wasn't even going to snitch on them. He just wanted way more money than Eider can afford. So then she had to tell, the Gurkish, like, hey, it can't happen. Davos is about to snitch, all that stuff. And then they're like, we got this. And then Davos disappears. And then Glockta shows up, and they're like, oh, we can still get this going. We can still make this happen. But then Verm starts to get greedy. And then that gives Glockta time to, rally the forces, pay Casca to betray Eider, basically it still could have happened up until Glockta got that money, essentially. Which, I was like, okay. Glockta's like, get it. Now I need you to sign, and I want you to name the Gurkish agent. And Eider doesn't really know. She's like, I don't even know. But Vitari doesn't really believe her and decides to choke it out of her. And Glockta basically lets it happen until he changes his mind. Vitari and Sever are like, what? You change your mind? This is insane. And he's like, I might need her for later. And then
Yeah,
a
which
bit
is
of a time.
odd for Glockter. And he says
Mhm.
here like we might need it for later, but obviously from his internal dialogue and where he was going with it, that we know he's changed his mind.
Mhm.
Well, the other thing too is, you were saying earlier, Jeff, that he convinces her that he doesn't have a conscience. No, he admits that he does. It's
Mhm.
just he's locked it away and kept it, fucking, choked and gagged in a corner in his mind, which
Right.
is
Right.
very true because sometimes he even admits too, it rears its head, but that's
Mhm.
very rarely.
Mhm.
And it's and after he hears the story about her, it's it's very clear, and it's a very human scenario of how it goes back and forth and how one person gets greedy and the other person wants to do that. And Cartlet and Ida was genuinely trying to do the right thing the entire time.
Mhm.
And Galacta has a very big soft spot for people who are trying to genuinely do the right thing.
Mhm. He does.
Because he knows that he has never been and will never be like that. He kind of he is I don't know what the term would be. He admires it.
Mhm.
People who are like that, and I think after he hears her story, that's whenever he decides, uh, I'm not gonna choke her out right here.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I like that. I find that a really interesting dynamic shift here. That Glockter, as far as we know, all of the people that he is torturing have done something,
Yep.
and they are, they are greedy, or they are this, or they are treacherous, or whatever.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
she
And
genuinely is genuinely doing things for good reason.
right, she's trying to save as many lives as possible, and she was trying to get this done without any bloodshed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
So,
now thousands of people are gonna die.
well, maybe we'll see. No, they're gonna die. So a bit of a time jump later, and Glock does. He's in his room. He's chilling again. 90s music video, just standing by the window, looking out. He's watching the Gurkish assault, assault the walls, and he's just like, hmm. And then Chickle arrives, and he's like, "Oh, I don't need you. You're not needed for the rest of the night. I'm expecting somebody, and it might not be safe." But she doesn't leave. She's the agent.
Yeah, I love this reveal as well.
Yeah, she's like, "Visitor, huh?" And then she starts walking, and then Glock is like, what?"
Yeah.
But Ida had told him, "Hey, listen, they're gonna come for you now because I told them, they're not gonna hear from me. They know I've been caught,
Mm-hmm.
so they're probably gonna come for you soon."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they said they might come for you even tonight, and so it's like tonight's the night, and she pads forwards slowly towards Glockta, and then Glockta's like, "This is wild," and then she's basically missing that she ate Davos, and he's like, "Oh hell no." He
And I
tries to
love
get.
that
Go
Glock
ahead.
is he's just laughing, kind of. He's like, "Oh my god, Hako was right."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, "That
You
racist
had you all the
bastard."
time.
And then he tries to keep her talking a little bit, and the reason why is because apparently Vitari's up in the rafters of the ceiling. She drops down the little chain, yanks it up, right before Rich Shickle tries to almost kills Glockta, and then the practicals are on her, right? Severa tries to grab her legs while Victoria yanks her up, but he gets kicked in the face. And then he goes flying across the room, and then Shickle drags the chain down, and Vitari along with it, and now they're like fighting each other, and then fucking Frost has to full on bull rush her, and even then, after he tackles her, she just kind of stands up, even though all his body weighs on her, and she's still like walking towards Glockta, and he's like, "What the fuck?"
That is crazy, isn't it? Like you see another display of power of the Eaters, like even this one that's very, very young, or
Yeah.
was very young when they became an Eater.
Mm-hmm.
And she seems to be pretty weak too, because
She's
and
13.
I know she's 13, but she's young and she seems to be weaker than all of the others because some of these other ones that we'll see in the future would have no problem handling these three
Yeah,
at all. But
yeah,
it
it
makes me wonder it's because she hasn't eaten in a while because she's been trying to keep her cover.
Possibly.
Possibly, but I think it also just it's like it's a time thing. Like when they say like how powerful Kalul and Mamoon is, they've been eaten for hundreds of years. They're like
That's true. That's true.
I think I think it's temporal, like at least that power scale in that sense.
That's a good point. Yeah, definitely does have something to do with that.
Yeah. I mean, Frost is able to at least restrain one arm, right? But she's still, fucking crawling forward, and then she has one arm outstretched, and Glocta's like, he almost like wants to touch it. He's like, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And then Severard comes back, and with the stick, he breaks her arm. He just hits it, and when he breaks it clean in half, I'm assuming they mean, like Joe means, the arm's still attached to the skin. It's just like at a 90-degree angle now or something.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
she just heals herself.
And then basically, Frost yokes her, throws her against the ceiling, and then they all just start whipping her ass. They just start punching and kicking her because they're pissed off now. It took all three of them just to momentarily restrain her, and then now she's knocked out. The fucking arm that's broken is still trying to crawl its way towards Glocta. They're like, "Yo, what?" And they take these giant chains and iron clasps, these cuffs, and they lock her up, and then she wakes up as soon as it's all secured. And then what does she say to her? She's like, she's talking all the shit about like how fools the us, the Mamoon and the
You'll learn
righteous
nothing
follow.
from me.
Yeah. And then she's like, what did she say about like pain? She said, like, near the end, she's like,
I am dead already. My body is nothing but dust. It belongs to the prophet. Try as you might, you will learn nothing from me.
And Glock is like, that sounds like a challenge.
Yeah. Fuck's sake, locked up.
Fuck's sake.
It's
For one thing, I do want to point out for this though as well. In the audiobook, Shickle's accent is Irish, which I thought was quite odd.
Oh, interesting.
Like Northern Irish.
Yeah.
And it's like the only person that has that accent in these books.
The IRA.
That is interesting.
IRA.
Whoa. Start him out young.
Whoa, the eaters of the IRA. Finally get it now.
Joe symbolism. It's interesting. I like how Glocta, right? He hears what Yulway said to him. Oh, it's an eater who killed Davoost. And Glocta's like, bullshit. But Glocta also has chains ready, like huge, massive chains. He's like, to be safe than sorry.
Yeah. So basically, they're gonna go torture Shickle now. That's the end of the chapter. What do you guys rate that chapter?
I'm gonna give this one a 7. There's a lot of high ranking chapters for this episode. Because it's almost the opposite of the last few. This is almost all story. We get a lot of backstory about Carla Danida, why she did what she did. We get a lot of interaction between her and Glocta, and how Glocta feels about all this. And I think it's, like I said, like almost the exact opposite of the last two chapters with all the action. So I like that. I like that juxtaposition, but it's also just a good story as well. So yeah, 7.
Okay. Harrison?
No, I reckon a 7 as well, to be honest.
Interesting.
Because for the same reasons that you said, I just really like the showing more of Galactus' different sides. Galactus like such a good character. Anytime they show more of who he is, it's so interesting. And to see that Carla was not a bad guy, that Galactus is basically the bad guy in this section in terms of morally. Because he's the one getting everybody. He's gonna get more people killed in the long run, just for what reason? Like as she says, so they can hang on to the edge of the peninsula for pride. Like it's stupid. And the whole thing is idiotic. And just to point that out, and it's kind of like, it's the same kind of thing that they have going in the other sections in the story right now, or at least with the Northern one, where you think that the heroes in a normal story, they're gonna beat the bad guys. Oh, maybe they'll take a long hit, and Ladislaw will become a better person. Blah 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 blah. And this one as well. Oh, he caught the conspirators. He saved the city from the Gurkish or whatever. Turns out, really, no, he didn't. I mean, not really. I mean, Glocta essentially made the incorrect moral choice, but in terms of the story and everything and who he is and things going on, it's more interesting.
Hmm.
But to kind of show that aspect on here so blatantly, it's just so plainly seen. It kind of gives you a different feeling for different factions inside of the story. Next time we meet, a different faction or whatever, we're not immediately convinced that they are the enemy because they're opposing our main character. We're already wondering what's going on with them in the background because of this situation,
Mm-hmm.
and I like that.
Well done.
That's
Well
well put,
done.
Harrison. Well put.
Well put. Mm-hmm. I'll give it a 7. I'll do for the trifecta.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah.
You're back, baby.
Yeah. More so because of the interaction between Eider and Glocta, and then the Shekel reveal. That's that's pretty fun too. But yeah, I mean, Harrison, you did a great job of describing as to how vital that reading is from Glocta's perspective, his character growth, and then also the perception of every human life is valuable, supposedly. So yeah.
It's just the way he said that.
Yeah, I know. All right. Well, let's move on to the next segment, which is our community interaction segment. Harrison, this is your baby.
It is my baby.
Holy shit, Harrison, you did so much work on this.
I did take
Yeah,
quite a bit of time on this one.
And we only give you 30 seconds to talk about it. Go.
I did a build your own. No, I did on Reddit here. I did a post. It just called "Build Your Own Army" or "Build Your Army," and I just thought of this idea from other people who have done it with Game of Thrones and stuff, or they say pick this thing, pick that thing. This is your army. So I did kind of a 20-point system. And then there's certain categories, and each category has a list of something that costs a certain amount of points depending on how good it is. You can't obviously pick all the best ones all the way down, and you don't have to pick out of every single category. So there was pick a general, then you pick your main body, then you pick your secondary body. So basically more of your elite side of things, and then you pick an actual elite force, one that can it's like your bodyguards or whatever, or your strike force. And then you pick a bodyguard. Then you pick your spy master or your kind of organizer, your background person, magic user of some sort, and something special. Basically the extra stuff that's in the story. But out of everything here, everybody seemed to really like it. I enjoyed making it because it was interesting to try to figure out what would balance out. And a lot of people commented. We had 50 people comment, which was awesome. And everyone had their own reasons. I did think it was pretty funny that some of these people, some of you guys were actually, this is actually a steal. You guys were gaming it. It was hilarious. Somebody, where was it on here? Somebody said, "Hey, bro, I'm gonna switch out all my other points. 15 points for the seed and 5 points for a magi. I'm gonna nuke your ass or whatever." That was hilarious. Somebody also said here, "Give me Gorse for 4, put all the maker's equipment on him for 1, give me Rick to check for the future for him, and a Magi to empower him for 4. And you literally have a one-man army, assuming his supports are protected. The remaining 9 gold I will keep for myself." He's like, "Oh, you figured it out. You've gamed the system." It just was really cool to see everybody have their own reasons for picking different things. No, almost there's hardly any negative, anything coming. Only one person on here was like, "Where's Vic Dantorflos, the spy master? She's way more valuable than Jurin, more cunning and ruthless. That's what you need to fight in this world." I mean, it's not negative, but also Jurin pulled off some pretty nifty shit. All right.
Big feats
And
of
it's
logistics.
Yeah, and and I said spy master / organizer. They got to be both, or capable of doing both. Which all the people I picked are capable of doing both.
Definitely, I love how people are putting so much effort into their answers as well. They're proper justifying what they're gonna do and why they're gonna do it this way. It's like, oh, that's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, they really did. They really did like it. So I thank you for everybody who commented on it. I'm glad that everybody enjoyed it. I'll try to think of more things like this in the future. Jeffrey, you have anything to say about it?
Well, unfortunately, I only just saw it about 5 minutes before we started recording. So,
I thought you loved me.
I love you. So I'm gonna give
Yay!
you, yay, good job, man. That was
9 out of
great.
9
Love
fingers.
it. 9 out of 9 fingers. I'm proud of you. So I just haven't been on Reddit in weeks. So
Nah, you're good,
good
dude.
job, man. Good job.
I also like how somebody just described the maker's weapons as dollar store Valyrian steel.
Hey,
They're
that's
actually
mean.
better because Valerian
I know.
steel. Valerian steel, it doesn't have, can have a weakness. Maker
it?
swords cannot be melted down, as far as we know.
Oh, right. Okay, like you're saying, Valyrian can be reforged. Gotcha.
Right,
Gotcha.
Valerian
Okay.
steel can be broken, but Maker swords they cannot.
I don't know about broken, but
I
okay,
mean,
yeah, I got you.
Yeah, we haven't seen one get broken yet.
Yeah, we haven't seen one get
But
broken.
we're not talking about Game of Thrones, so
Yeah, we're not doing it.
Yeah,
We're not doing
fuck
it.
Game of Thrones.
We're not doing it. All right. Well, thank you for that. George, you want to say anything else about that post, or?
No, I'm all good. It was a great
Okay.
post. Really great.
Good job, Harrison.
Thank you, guys.
And our fourth and final chapter read through is short as shit. Okay, it from the very confused perspective of Giselle, and he's like in and out of consciousness, out of being wrecked. At first, he thinks he sees Artie, and they're kissing, and then apparently she starts chewing and sucking the skin off his face, and he's like, "What?"
Girl, you shouldn't do that.
Girl, you tripping? Why you doing that, baby?
And I like how when he wakes up, or he's like coming in and out of consciousness, you can see all of the little personalities there. Like, I've got it. It's like, how about it? Just hold it. It's like, I'm going to be sick. Healing is not one of my remarkable. It just gets cut off.
And he's like, "Don't pull his teeth out. It fell out by itself." It was like, "Oh, fucking."
And, this reinforces Harrison's theory that he's just sat 50 feet away because this has got to be not long after.
Yeah, they're like, "Where have you been?"
I just got back.
You're right. I was right. He's been right there the whole fucking time.
And then so all they're doing is he just hears voices, and they're trying to. It seems like they're taking care of him, trying to stitch him up. And a voice says, "Good stitching. You're one of us now. One of us."
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh fuck."
Now, I will have to say that this chapter here, for its being basically two pages, I think is not only is it funny because you hear all the different voices. If you have the audiobook, you know exactly who's talking. But even without the audiobook, you can tell by personality alone who is speaking, which is cool. And the way that it plays out in Giselle's head, you can tell this is like, not only is it horribly painful, but one, he's dreaming of Artie, and then, that's ripped away. And then, Logan is like, it's good stitching. You're one of us now, like one of us. Like that is Giselle's nightmare, And
yeah, this is the last thing you wanted to hear.
Yeah, exactly. But also at the same time, it's like he's got some respect from both Pharaoh and Logan now, And it's kind of I don't know. I don't think it's a bad chapter at all. It's short as shit, and I'm going to give it a 4 out of 9. But I remember reading this and being like, damn, that sucks.
Yeah. I'm going to be the same. I'm going to go for a 4 because it is. You could have stuck this on the end of the last chapter and there wouldn't have been any different.
Very true. Yeah, it's a short. I mean, what else can I give it but a 4 as well? Like, did we just do an accidental trifecta?
Yeah.
Second one?
2 trifecta.
Holy shit, that's a record.
That's the first. It's a circle of the world first.
Yeah. I mean, it's hilarious. It's just short. And Giselle's in pain and it's like, oh, all things that we like to see. So
I especially love the bit where he's like, "Don't pull his teeth out; it fell out by itself."
Damn fool, Pink. And I like the part where it's like, that's real good stitching. Wish you would have been around when I got these. I might still have my looks. And then she goes, "What looks, Pink?" And he's like, all right, Bex, let's get started on the arm there. Yep, we'll just move on. Oh man. So yeah, that's the fourth and final chapter read through. That's our show, everyone. We want to thank you all again for listening and supporting this podcast. As you all know, this is a passion project for the three of us, and your support means a lot to us.
Join us next week as we do a special spoiler episode.
And make sure you follow us on all of our social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and we have a website. It's circleoftheworld.com.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get podcasts from. And please make sure to rate and review this podcast as it helps to spread our reach. Thank you all again for listening.
That's the damn recipe!